The Zarnok scout ship entered Earth's atmosphere quietly, like a shadow cutting across the clouds. It was a sleek, black vessel, almost invisible to human technology. Inside, 3 alien scouts prepared for their mission. Their job was simple: study Earth's wildlife and return with data. They didn't expect danger. "Species 8743 Earths," said Commander Viznek. "No signs of advanced defense, primitive, should be safe." The 3 scouts, Viznek, Kral, and Jurin, landed in a thick forest. Giant trees surrounded them. The air was fresh. Birds chirped in the distance. "Scan everything," Viznek ordered. "Start with the small creatures. We need samples." Kral walked ahead with his scanner. His boots crunched on dry leaves. "So peaceful here," he muttered. "Almost too peaceful." Huron set up a drone to record the animals. Within minutes, the forest came alive. A deer ran past. Birds flew overhead. But one small creature caught their attention. It was fast, small, brown, bushy tail. It stopped on a branch and stared at them with black, shiny eyes. "What is that?" Kral asked. The scanner beeped. No clear match. "Mammal, light body, agile, appears harmless." The squirrel tilted its head, then it leaped straight at Kral. Kral screamed and fell backward. The squirrel landed on his helmet, claws scratching wildly. He rolled on the ground, yelling, "Get it off me! It's attacking!" Viznek fired a stun pulse into the air. The squirrel jumped off and vanished. Into the trees, Joan helped Kral to his feet. "You're bleeding." Kral's arm had deep scratches. His helmet was dented. "That thing is a predator." Viznek's face was pale. "We must be careful. It may be a defense animal." Joanne looked at the forest with new fear. If that's the small one? What else is out there? They sent a small crawler drone to scan deeper. It moved slowly over roots and leaves, capturing images. Then it froze. A pair of glowing eyes stared from the shadows. "The feed cut. Lost contact," Jurin said. Something took the drone. Back on the ship, command received the footage. Zarnok scientists watched in silence. The image of the squirrel's launch. TAC played again. Repeatedly, one scientist whispered, "It shows speed, targeting instinct, and no fear of unknown tech." Another nodded. "Look at the claws." It went for the face. "That's a trained move." General Orvac of the Zarnok Defense Council stood up. "No proof," said a tech, "but its behavior is ... tactical." More videos came in. A raccoon opening a sealed food container. A goose chasing a human. Cat leaping 6 feet straight into the air. "This world," said General Orvac, "is a biological weapons lab." Back in the forest, the 3 scouts tried to retreat. But the forest was different now. Every rustle in the leaves sounded like an ambush. Every bird call felt like a signal. Suddenly, Kral stopped. Movement behind us. He turned dozens of squirrels watching, silent, unblinking. "Run," Viznek said. They ran. The squirrels didn't chase them, but they didn't need to. The fear was already planted deep. When the scouts returned to the ship, Kral refused to speak. He sat shaking. Viznek uploaded the data with trembling hands. Final report from the scout team. Read. Initial assumption: Earth is unguarded. Correction: Earth is defended by small, fast, unpredictable creatures. First contact involved direct attack by unknown mammal. Possible classification: Biowarfare Unit, Type 3. Recommendation: do not engage Earth until further study. Zarnak homeworld. The High Council gathered. They watched the footage of Kral being tackled by a squirrel. Then they saw the swarm of animals in the forest. Then silence. The head of the council said, one word: withdraw. The Zarnok scout ship hovered in orbit, still recovering from the squirrel incident. The High Council wanted more data before making any decisions. Commander Viznek stood silently in front of the mission screen. "We need to understand their night defenses," said General Orvac through the comms. "Their animals are aggressive in daylight. What happens after dark?" Viznek didn't like the question, but orders were orders. He selected 2 new scouts, Larrick and Visa, both experts in night recon. They wore fresh armor, updated with thicker plating. The scratches from the squirrel were still fresh in everyone's minds. The ship dropped them into a dense forest just after sunset. It was quiet, too quiet. No wind, no insects. Only shadows. "We begin observation now," Larrick whispered, scanning the trees. Infrared vision on. Suddenly, red dots appeared on their screens. Eyes. Dozens of glowing eyes perched high above them. "What is that?" Visa asked. Raising her scanner, the device buzzed and displayed. Species. Unknown. Wings. Talons. High-speed dive capability. Nocturnal. The creatures didn't move. They just stared. Then one spread its wings. Another followed, silent, majestic. "But eerie. Owls," Larrick muttered. "They're watching us." The owls moved soundlessly between trees. Their heads turned in full circles. Their eyes never blinked. "We're being tracked," Visa said. "Let's send the micro-drones," Larrick ordered. Tiny drones flew from their belts and hovered near the trees. They recorded everything: body structure, movement, reactions. One. The drone got too close. Whoosh. An owl dove straight down, talons extended. The screen shook. Static. Another owl dived. Then another. Within seconds, 4 drones were gone. "Abort mission," Larrick shouted. "Return to the ship." The 2 scouts ran, but the owls followed silently, flying above the treetops. Vizia tripped. She looked up, saw an owl glide. Just over her head, slow and controlled. "Larrick," she whispered. "They're not hunting. They're warning us." Back on the ship, the footage was analyzed by nervous Zarnok scientists. The silent flight patterns. The coordinated strikes. It's the perfect dives. "These aren't wild animals," one scientist said. "They're air units. Look how they wait before attacking," another added. "They assess threat level." Zarnok. High command watched in. Silence. Then came the final footage. The owl circling over Visa without attacking. "They're testing us," General Orvac said coldly. "Measuring our reaction. Calculating." A younger officer whispered, "Do the humans control them?" "No," Orvac replied. "Worse, they've partnered with them." The next day, all missions were paused. The forest zones were declared Tier 4 biorisk. The new alien term for owls became sky shadows, unseen, unheard, untouchable. Meanwhile, back on Earth, an old woman in a cabin watched her pet owl return to the tree near her porch. She smiled, sipping tea. "Good girl," she said. "Scare off any raccoons tonight?" She had no idea that across the galaxy, an empire now feared her owl more than any machine. The Zarnok High Council watched Earth from orbit with new fear. The forests were deadly, the skies worse, but the oceans, they had not yet explored. "Maybe the sea is safer," one council member suggested. "Humans are land creatures." "Perhaps. The water holds no danger." General Orvac shook his head. "Send in the sub-drone. Let's find out." In Earth's Pacific Ocean, the alien drone, called Deep Seeker 12, slid beneath the waves. It was shaped like a silver bullet and packed with scanners, cameras, and stealth systems. It moved silently, just a few meters below the surface. At first, the ocean seemed calm, beautiful even. Fish swam past in colorful schools. Coral reefs glowed below. No signs of weapons, no threats. "This is promising," reported Scout Jurin, monitoring the data. "Peaceful, no hostility detected." Then, something massive passed under the drone. The lights dimmed for a moment. The shadow was long, wide, silent. Jurin zoomed the camera. It was a whale. "Life force detected," the computer said. "Length, 30 meters. Estimated weight, 120 tons. Jurin's jaw dropped. "What kind of machine is that?" "It's alive," another scout whispered. "That's a biological creature." The drone followed the whale for several minutes. It sang long, deep calls that echoed through the water. "Is it communicating?" Jurin asked. Back at Zarnak Command, the analysts leaned in. They recorded the sounds, ran them through translation software. Too complex for random noise, the system said. Possible structured language. Language? General Orvac said. They have sea creatures that speak. Before they could react further, the drone was suddenly pushed sideways hard. Something had struck it. Another shadow moved fast, faster than the whale. New contact, said the scanner, approaching at high speed. Water, sharp teeth, cold black eyes. A shark. It bit the drone. Alarms rang. Structural damage. Outer shell breach. The feed glitched as the shark spun, dragging the drone downward. Another joined in. 2, 3. A feeding frenzy. The last video showed a tooth scraping against the camera lensed in darkness. On the Zarnak ship silence. Then, screams. The ocean is worse than the forests. One scout yelled. They have underwater missiles with mouths. Shh. General Orvac frowned. And what do they do with these monsters? Why let them roam free? A tech replied nervously, sir. Humans swim with them. They train dolphins. They ride whales. They play with sea beasts. More video appeared. Humans surfing near sharks. Divers swimming beside manta rays. Kids feeding dolphins. The Zarnak couldn't believe it. They live beside these things. Someone whispered. General Orvac stood. They don't just control Earth's land. They command the sea. Final scout report. Earth's oceans are full of armored predators. Creatures the size of small ships. They show intelligence, coordination, and kill without hesitation. Humans freely enter their domain and return unharmed. Conclusion. Earth's oceans are a natural death zone, and the humans are its masters. The report went viral across Zarnak's sectors. Some laughed nervously. Others began evacuation. Drills just in case Earth was no longer a backwater world. It was a weaponized ecosystem, the Zarnak High. The Council had already labeled Earth's forests, skies, and oceans as high risk. But one council member raised a new question. What about Earth's smallest life forms? He asked. They're insects? The room went quiet. General Orvac narrowed his eyes. Deploy a microsurvey unit. Let's see what their bugs are like. Location. Human suburban area backyard garden operation. Insect analysis. A small. Four-legged crawler drone was released from orbit. It landed near a quiet anthill, disguised as a pebble. The drone was just the size of a coin, equipped with sensors, cameras, and adaptive camouflage. It began recording data. All readings are calm, said Scout Visa, monitoring from the ship. Tiny creatures, primitive minds, nothing unusual. But 10 minutes later, the drone twitched. Something had crawled onto it. Then another and another, hundreds of ants. Ants? We have contact, Visa said. The ants. They've covered the drone. A soft crunching noise came through the audio feed. What are they doing? Asked Commander Visnek. The camera lens began to shake. Then everything went black. Data. Feed dash lost. Back on the Zarnak ship, emergency recovery drones were sent to retrieve the destroyed unit. What they found made the council panic. The drone had been stripped, wires, dash gone, coating gone. Internal circuits damaged beyond use. What happened to the metal? One technician gasped. The analysis came in. Organic acid corrosion. Mechanical disassembly. Micro-coordination. Done by insect swarm. Those ants took it apart like a team of engineers, said Visa, and they didn't even leave the screws. More footage came in. Termites chewing through wood. Bees attacking with organized waves. Wasps building giant nests with precise shapes. One scout asked, Are these creatures controlled? No, said Visnek grimly. Work together. That's worse. Next mission. Urban insect test-a-flyer drone was sent near a human house. It hovered near a trash bin. A buzzing sound filled the air. Bees. They swarmed the drone before it could retreat. The video turned into a blur of wings and yellow bodies. The drone spun, lost control, and smashed into the ground. Stinger units. A tech shouted. They use flying toxin carriers as defense. More data flooded in, a man running from a wasp nest. Fire ants overwhelming a trapped mouse. Locusts eating crops within hours. They're not just bugs, Orvac whispered. They're biological nanoweapons, millions of tiny soldiers. With no fear and no mercy, human behavior shocks the Zarnak even worse. The humans didn't seem to fear these creatures. Children caught fireflies in jars. Beekeepers raised hives in their backyards. Now some humans even let giant spiders walk on their arms, do they not? Understand the danger? A scientist asked. No, Orvac said. They mastered it. Not Council Report Insects of Earth. Category: Class 5 Biological Swarm Units Capabilities. Structural Breakdown. Coordinated Attack. Hive Mind. Function Risk Level. Severe Warning. Earth's surface contains creatures capable of stripping metal, flesh, and machinery. Recommendation: do not land. Do not approach nests. Avoid Earth's insect zones entirely. Back on Earth in a small backyard, a boy squatted near an anthill. He dropped a piece of candy nearby and smiled as the ants swarmed it. He had no idea that across the galaxy, alien warlords were terrified of the bugs crawling at his feet. After the ant swarm incident, the Zarnak High Council began to fear Earth itself. Forests, oceans, skies even, the dirt crawled with danger. But one region remained unscanned. Earth's grasslands. The Council believed these open spaces would be less dangerous. Flat terrain. Fewer places to hide. Perfect for studying large land species. Send the ground rover, General Orvac ordered. Observe large animal movement. No contact. Just watch. Location: African grassland. Earth Zarnak unit. Ground observation rover, heavy shell. Long-range sensors. The rover landed quietly and rolled forward. It scanned the open land, tall golden grass, light breeze, peaceful sun. Then it saw something massive, gray wrinkled skin. Huge ears. Species detected. Elephant, the scanner announced. Estimated weight: 6,000 kilograms. Movement: slow. Risk: low. The rover got closer. The elephant looked at it, calm, curious. Then a second one appeared. Then a third. A small one stood in the middle, a calf. The rover's scanner beeped. Gyam detected. Protective behavior likely. The elephants began circling the calf. No sudden moves, Jurin whispered from the ship. Just observe. But the rover made a mechanical beep. A warning. Signal dot. Till loud the elephants froze. Then the largest one roared and charged. Back on. The ship impact detected, Visa shouted. The elephant struck the rover. Armor bent. More elephants joined the charge. They stomped, trumpeted, and smashed the machine into the dirt. Retreat. Pull it back! Viznek yelled too late. The final footage showed the calf watching quietly while the adults destroyed the alien. Machine, later that day, second test, new location. The next drone landed near a swamp in South Asia. A large gray creature rose from the mud, short legs, wide mouth, tiny eyes. The system identified it. Species: hippopotamus. Risk level: unknown. It looked slow, stupid. Even the drone inched forward. The hippo turned and charged. Faster than expected, the drone tried to rise, but the hippo slammed into it, cracking the legs. Its massive jaws bit straight through the camera feed. Power. Loss, the team shouted. Shut it down. Everything went dark. Zerno called council meeting. Emergency update footage from Sea-Sort. Both missions played on loop. A giant beast breaking titanium legs. Another flattening a rover like it was paper. These are not dumb animals, a Zarnak scientist said. Detect threats. They protect their young. They crush metal. And humans walk among them without fear. Another added videos showed humans riding elephants, washing them, feeding them. Laughing footage of tourists near hippos smiling. Zaranoka officers couldn't believe it. Humans have bonded with the most dangerous land tanks on the planet? One scout whispered. General Orvac stood slowly. if these creatures are allowed to roam free, and if humans train them, ride them, live beside them, then humanity does not fear monsters. He looked at the council. Humanity raises them. Uzarnok report. Living tanks of Earth species. Elephants, hippos, rhinos, mass. 1,002. 6,000 kilogram strength. Capable of destroying armored units. Behavior. Protective. Aggressive when provoked. Human interaction. Peaceful. Domestic. Cooperative. Risk level. Extreme note. These creatures obey humans or worse. Consider them family. Meanwhile, on Earth, a group of kids in a wildlife park watched an elephant raise its trunk and spray water playfully. They laughed and clapped. One zookeeper smiled and said, "She loves doing that. She's very gentle." Across the galaxy, an alien empire marked her as a Class 5 siege beast. The Zarnok Council had seen enough. They had studied squirrels, owls, sea beasts, insect swarms, and armored giants. But still, they wanted answers. "What protects the deep forests?" General Orvac asked. "No drones have returned from those zones," a tech replied. "We lost visual, sound, and signal from all attempts." Orvac frowned. "Then send something bigger." Mission. Deep Forest Infiltration, Northern Territory Unit, Armored Recon Drone Type 6 Objective. Identify forest apex predators. The drone landed in a dense pine forest just before dusk. It moved slowly between the tall trees, scanning everything: bark, roots, animal trails, temperature shifts. Birds flew overhead. Leaves rustled gently, but no animals were visible. "Too quiet," said Visa. Then the motion sensor beeped. Something moved just out of sight, fast and heavy. Contact. The thermal cam showed a heat signature low to the ground. Forelegs, large. Lungs, the system displayed. Species unknown. Large. Carnivore approaching. Suddenly, a deep growl echoed through the trees. The drone froze. "Replay that sound," ordered Commander Visny. K. The growl was long, guttural. "Close then, dash another." A. Howl, higher pitch. A signal, then silence. "No visual," said the pilot. The scanner pulsed faster, then from the trees. Movement, fast, blurry. Something hit the drone from the side. The feed shook. Static, a dent appeared in the outer shell. Then came the roar. Not one creature, but three. Back on the Zarnok ship, pause playback. Orvac ordered. The screen showed wolves fast. Eyes locked on the camera. "No fear, they attack together," said a scientist. "Coordinated ambush. More footage, wolves running in a formation. One distracts, the others flank. This is no wild pack," another whispered. "This is strategy." Mission 2. Forest, new drone this time. The team sent a thermal cloak unit into a mountain forest. It rolled into thick underbrush. Minutes passed. Then a rustle. A shadow moved in the trees. Something tall, upright, visual incoming. The system said. The feed focused. Brown fur, huge claws, teeth, eyes full of rage. A bear species. Ursa's Arctos, strength, unknown. Risk, unmeasurable. The bear charged. The drone released a shock. Burst. Did nothing. The bear ripped off the camera. The feed went black. Cerno command in panic footage. Of wolves ambushing in silence, bears overpowering machines, mountain lions stalking unseen. Earth's forests are alive with hunters, Orvac growled. "But these are animals," one new officer said. "Surely they don't work with humans." The room darkened. New footage played. A man in the woods walked with a wolf beside him. Another showed a forest ranger petting a bear cub. A hunter sitting calmly as a fox approached him. "They don't just live among them," Orvac said. "They respect each other." Final report. Earth forest predators, species, wolves, bears, big cats tactics, stealth, pack coordination, Del, power strikes behavior, highly territorial, intelligent, precise risk level, severe note, forest. Areas are natural ambush zones. Human harmony with predators is a tactical nightmare. Earth's forests are not just wild, they're defended. Meanwhile, on Earth, in a remote log cabin, human hiker placed a bowl of water near the tree line. A wolf stepped forward, calm, silent. It drank. The man watched with quiet respect. Across the stars, a Zarnak commander stared at a map of Earth's forests and marked them all. Do not enter death zones. By now, the Zarnak High Council had accepted one terrifying truth. Earth itself was a living battlefield, from forests to oceans. From insects to giants, danger waited everywhere. But one young Zarnak analyst raised a strange question. What about the creatures humans keep inside their homes? THEIR pets. Silence filled the room. General Orvac turned slowly. Do you mean the domesticated ones? Yes, sir. If humans fear nothing outside, what kind of beasts do they raise inside? Mission: domestic surveillance, urban. Zone target. Pet animals. A small cloaked drone was dropped into a quiet suburban neighborhood. It hovered outside a human window. Inside, a family sat watching TV. On the floor, a furry creature slept. Species match: Felis cotus. Human name: cat. Risk: unknown. The drone approached slowly. The cat opened one eye. Its ears twitched then, with shocking speed. It leapt straight at the drone. The feed shook, screeching. Claws. Cut to static Zarno K-ship emergency footage. Review: they replayed the clip in slow motion. The cat had moved 5 times faster than the drones. Reaction time. Target went for the lens, said Visa. Direct eye attack. That's precision targeting. It leaped from sleep, Duran added. That's combat reflex. Mission 2. Larger target: human yard surveillance. A new drone was sent to observe a fenced area. Inside, big creature rested on the grass. Furry, wagging tail. Species: Canis familiaris. Human term: dog. The drone hovered above. The dog stood up. It stared at the drone, then barked. Once loudly, the drone vibrated from the shock. Seconds later, the dog charged. The drone rose quickly, but not fast enough. The dog jumped, grabbed it in its jaws, and shook it violently. The last image showed rows of teeth. Transmission lost. Zarnak command report. The footage was horrifying. It's not because of size, but because of loyalty. These creatures protect humans, said a council member. They aren't wild. They're trained. And they're everywhere. Dogs herded sheep, guarded homes, pulled sleds. Even helped in wars. Cats killed rats with surgical precision, slept in high places, moved in silence. Birds like parrots mimicked human speech. And the humans, they fed them, played with them, loved them. They're not pets, General Orvac whispered. They're living security systems, always active, always alert, and emotionally bonded. More shocking footage: a dog attacking a masked thief to protect a child, a house cat clawing a snake to protect a baby, parrot screaming warnings. When someone tried to open a door, a monkey flipping off a drone and throwing a rock, the Zarnak officers sat frozen. These creatures do not act on command, said Visa. They act from emotion, loyalty, instinct. That, said Orvac, makes them unpredictable and terrifying. Final report: Earth's domesticated threat species: dogs, cats, birds, small mammals. Behavior: loyal, protective, emotionally reactive. Skills: detection, defense, noise. Alarm: small unit assault risk level. HIGH note: domesticated animals function as embedded defense systems. Worse, they love their human masters, and they kill for them without hesitation. Meanwhile, on Earth, a teenage girl hugged her golden retriever tightly. Good boy, she said after he barked at the mailman. You're always watching out for me. Across the stars, the Zarnak Council debated one final question. If this is how humans raise their pets, what have they done to themselves? The Zarnak High Council had reached its breaking point. They had studied Earth's oceans filled with monsters. They had feared the skies where owls moved like silent assassins. They had watched forests, swarms, and tanks made of flesh. Even the humans' smallest pets had nearly destroyed their machines. Now, it was time for a decision. General Orvok stood before the council. He looked tired, stressed, scarred. "We've sent over 100 drones," he said.
Yes.
Them, no unit returned unharmed. Some were never found. Behind him, screens showed terrifying footage on repeat. A squirrel tearing through a scout's helmet. A goose chasing a drone down a city street. A house cat launching a surprise claw attack from a kitchen counter. Dolphin flipping a Zarnak sensor module out of the water. "We came to study," Orvok continued. "But what we found is a planet where everything fights back." One council member still resisted. "But the humans, what about them? They seem weak, soft, emotional. If we must strike, shouldn't we strike now?" Orvok turned slowly. He played one last piece of footage. Human documentary, Earth's wildlife. Narrator's voice filled the chamber. "The tiger is not the king of the jungle because it is the largest. It is the king because it fears nothing." Clips. Rolled of humans walking beside bears, riding horses, swimming with sharks, training hawks, and holding venomous snakes with calm hands. "What makes humans special," the narrator continued, "is that they tamed the wild, but never lost their respect for it. They are not above nature. They walk beside it." The chamber was silent. Zarnak, Emergency Analysis Report. Final. Summary conclusion. Earth is a living arsenal. Every environment is weaponized. Its animals are not just dangerous. They are trusted allies of the humans. And the humans are something worse. They are the ones who train monsters. Are the reason the beasts do not fear death. Earth status, red zone classification, planetary biowarfare ecosystem invasion risk. Unacceptable directive, full withdrawal, PER man and T 1 cycle lighter. The Zarnak Empire officially sealed. Earth from all travel, all maps now displayed a warning. Warning, do not approach Earth. Planet contains advanced biological defenses. Entry equals death. When asked by other species why they abandoned the study, Zarnak commanders gave only one answer. "We studied the animals. But we should have studied the humans. They are worse." Meanwhile, on Earth a child sat by a lake, feeding ducks with breadcrumbs. Behind her, a dog rested in the grass. A cat watched from a tree. A squirrel ran along the branch. She laughed. She didn't know an empire had just retreated in fear of the creatures playing beside her. She didn't know she lived on. A planet others now called a bioweapon world. She only knew this. Animals were her friends, and her friends protected her.